Hey, what's up? How's it going? How you doing today? I hope you're good. I hope you got tons of liberty, truth, and love in your life, wherever you are. We got some work to do today. You know, we show up every day till they release these Epstein files to talk about them while we get in our work, okay? Because we can multitask. We can do 2 things at once, 3 things at once. But I am a little bit behind today, so I'm going to fill in a little bit on the whiteboard, and then we're going to talk about what the important message of the day is from the Love and Liberty channel. And then after we briefly go through what my message is today, I'm going to get my work in, document it, because it's all part of a larger training process that we will talk about later. And I will be reacting to YouTube videos that I have saved up and anything the chat wants to talk about. So that being said, I'm going to get some stuff up here on the board and we'll talk about it. Two traits that unite MAGA, okay? 2 traits that unite the people who support MAGA. You cannot support MAGA without being either ignorant or weak or both. We're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about how ignorance and weakness do not have to be permanent. So this is not to insult anybody. This is not about name calling. This is about accountability. This is about truth. This is about honesty. This is about good men and women tending their garden, their body, their community. The same way we reject cancer cells from our body, the same way we reject weeds from our garden, we reject MAGA because they will kill society, and the root cause of people following MAGA is ignorance and weakness. Let's get into it. Again, these are not insults. These are literal descriptions. If you're weak, you're weak. If you're ignorant, you're ignorant. MAGA lets you pretend. Real people cannot keep playing dumb, pretending with highly delusional people. We have to address the root cause so that we can heal them, those who want to be healed. Because you don't have to stay ignorant, you don't have to stay weak. We're going to talk about, there's a lot of different ways that those can happen to somebody without it being their fault. But once you realize it, it's a choice whether you ignore the truth, whether you ignore these higher principles, or whether you admit that you've been conned or you've been lied to, and you don't want to be in that state of ignorance, weakness, or both anymore. So ignorance does not have to be a permanent condition. It doesn't have to be somebody's fault, okay? I have been ignorant. I'm still ignorant about many things. That's the truth. By telling the truth and admitting where I'm ignorant, I can learn and uncover more to be less and less ignorant. But if I pretend that I'm not ignorant about anything and deny the truth, I will be stuck there. It doesn't have to be somebody's fault. It simply means a lack of knowledge. Ignorance is a lack of knowledge. Why that knowledge is lacking could be due to 1,000 different reasons. Ignorance is responsible for people either choosing money, okay? People choose money when they're MAGA, or they choose a corrupted version of religion. These are the two things coming from a place of ignorance. These are the two things that MAGA followers use to justify doing what they know in their heart is wrong. Okay, they know what they do is wrong, but they choose to ignore what they know is wrong for pursuit of money or a corrupted religion. Okay? And again, there can be 1,000 different reasons between why somebody chooses money over what they know is right. There could be 1,000 different reasons over why somebody chooses a corrupt form of religion over what they know is right. And some of those reasons will be the free will choice of somebody. In other words, they're choosing to be evil or bad. And sometimes it's conditioning. It's indoctrination. It's just ending up on the wrong team and all of a sudden one day waking up and realizing that you're on the team of the people that you never thought were who they are. That the people that you actually agree with and who actually live in accordance to your core principles wear a different jersey. Okay, there's 1,000 different ways people can end up in ignorance. We're not assigning blame, we're just not ignoring the truth. Because to follow along with what people know is wrong, they either do it for money or they do it for a corrupted version of religion. People who have enough, people who feel like they have enough spiritually, financially, whatever you want to say, people who are content, which is the most based form of happiness, because happy doesn't mean, haha, I spam laughy emojis. Happiness means you get to do what you want every day. That you love people in your life with an intensity that can only be understood if you have that kind of love. And that people love you that way. And that you're not worried about tomorrow. People who have enough like that never choose money or corrupt religion over what they know is right. When people feel secure, when they feel safe, when they feel strong, they don't bend the knee to what they know is wrong. Only people who are grasping and seeking, again, for money or for the approval of a corrupted religion would do that. People who are actually successful in life in a way that they feel content and happy and like they have enough would never go against their own conscience. Weakness comes from living in ignorance and not realizing or diagnosing the root cause, because again, just because somebody is weak today does not mean they have to be weak tomorrow. Just because somebody is weak today doesn't mean that they chose that. They could have ended up there 1,000 different ways. They might have chosen it, they might have just ended up there by the currents and tide of life. But today is your wake-up call to say being weak comes from a lack of knowledge of how to be strong. And it's not even from a lack of desire or discipline to do what it takes to be strong, because knowledge will tell you that the mental energy that people spend on the symptoms of weakness is more than they would ever have to spend on becoming strong. So they don't have to do anything. They think that it's going to be harder than it is, so they stay weak, they stay ignorant. And how do you know that people are weak? The symptoms of ignorance, like disease, wear somebody down the longer they're infected. Like a disease, someone might misdiagnose the root cause and chase treating the individual symptoms like weakness until they find the root cause, ignorance. The cause is always whatever tricked the person into accepting delusion over reality. So we know that people join MAGA because they let weak people pretend that they're strong. They let ignorant people pretend that they're intelligent. But we see that nobody is actually fooled. It's just an agreement to pretend. And the way that we see that is, like, for example, Donald Trump flipping on Marjorie Taylor Greene. We can pull all the tweets of all the glorious things he said about her when she was submitting to the cult. He let her pretend she was smart. He let her pretend she was strong. He played along. But as soon as she went against the cult, you see he said he knew the truth all along. And they all do. They know it about themselves. They know it about each other. But it is a pact, a gang of self-delusion. And the only reason that any human would submit to that is ignorance or weakness. No one who is strong ever feels the need to attack weaker people. No one who is truly strong ever feels the need to attack weaker people who aren't hurting anyone. No one who is truly strong would ever feel the need or the urge to attack weaker people who aren't hurting anyone. People who are strong put bullies in their places. They don't join in a gang with them. People who join in with others to bully are like hyenas. They know they're weak, and they misdiagnose the root cause of their weakness, and they end up in a gang or a group like MAGA, and it doesn't have to be permanent. And why don't you want to stay there? Because like any disease where you fail to accurately diagnose the root cause, it will kill you. It will make you weaker and weaker. And if you're MAGA and you're watching this, I know that your life is broken. I know that you don't have enough. I know that you don't feel strong. I know that you're scared financially and economically, or else you would never choose this. And this is your sign, this is your wake-up call. There's 1,000 different ways you could end up in ignorance or weakness. I have been ignorant, I still am ignorant in areas of life. And it's not weak to admit what's true. Strength is facing reality, embracing what is true, admitting you're weak where you're weak and you're ignorant where you're ignorant. And if you do that, you could never end up in a group like MAGA. Because no one who is strong ever feels the need to attack weaker people who aren't hurting anyone. Strong people don't try to destroy bullies when they put them in their place. They try to do whatever it takes to get through to them and rehabilitate them so that they can come back into the communal fold as brothers who no longer seek joy in tearing others down. People who take joy in tearing others down is a clear signal of ignorance and weakness. When we see people taking joy in tearing others down, we know that they're weak and ignorant. And so that's not what we're here to do. We're not insulting people. We're not here to tear them down. We're here to shake our brothers and wake them up and say, stop going along with this. You're misdiagnosing the root cause of your disease, and it's treatable. And you have brothers out here who are showing you the love to be truthful with you and not ignore what's actually going on. What's actually going on is the people who are caught up in MAGA are suffering from ignorance, weakness, or both, which do not have to be permanent conditions. No one who is intelligent ignores shameless evil and dishonesty, like the way MAGA is ignoring the Epstein files and Trump's connection to them. Nobody who is intelligent would ever ignore that or suppress that or kneel to that. No one who is intelligent would, in a time of such high stakes, avoid letting others know where they stand so that the youth may see the difference as clearly as possible between good and evil, strength and weakness, liberty and fascism, integrity and dishonor. In a time of such high stakes, nobody who is strong and intelligent would ever avoid letting others know where they stand so that the youth may see the difference as clearly as possible between good and evil, strength and weakness, liberty and fascism, integrity and dishonor. And as we go through these videos today, we're going to point out how weak MAGA is. I want to say the men of MAGA, but I don't see them as men. I see them as androgynous drones, zombies, drug addicts. Again, not to insult, it's not a permanent condition. They can change, but they have to wake up, and we cannot help them by taking the ridiculous lies that they spread at face value, by chasing them around and playing dumb with them. No, we have to go to the root cause. Ignorance and weakness at a core foundational level are what cause people to choose MAGA. And if we don't address that ignorance and weakness condition and the root cause of it, which is either seeking money through ignorance because you don't know a moral, ethical way to earn money because maybe somebody never taught you, maybe somebody indoctrinated you the wrong way, and now you're so far down that path you don't feel like you can come back. But that's what we're here for, to say you can, and when you wake up and you realize it, that's when you have the moral imperative to follow the truth, to follow love, to follow liberty, because you all want those for yourself. And you know that it's ignorance and weakness to then try to deny those universal principles to others. So for us to do anything about MAGA, we can't play dumb with them. We can't chase them around as they're just spewing garbage everywhere that they don't even believe. They're in this group for the delusion that it gives them. The same way that crackheads give business to a crack dealer. They don't necessarily like the crack dealer or agree with them. It just is what it is. MAGA is a flame for moths who are caught in a disease of ignorance and weakness and don't know how to heal. And so it's up to people who see it for what it is to shine a light on it. Because not everybody who's ignorant and weak will remain ignorant and weak tomorrow. Some of these people will understand what I'm saying and they will choose to take off the red hat. They will choose to support universal principles. And that doesn't mean who they will vote for in the future, but it means they will not support MAGA. Nobody who stands for these principles supports MAGA. And that's how we know that everybody who is MAGA is a hypocrite and they're broken and they're a liar because they want these for themselves, but they deny them to others. And they don't care. Why? Because they're pursuing money or they're pursuing a corrupted version of religion. And where do those come from? Ignorance and weakness. And if we don't talk about the root cause, we're wasting all of our time. Anybody who supports Trump or MAGA does so from a place of brokenness. They can be healed, but that does not mean we excuse their destructive behavior. Like when we see a bully picking on someone, we do whatever it takes to stop the bully, whatever it takes, but nothing more, nothing less. We're not trying to destroy the bully. We're not trying to annihilate the bully. We're trying to make them stop, and then we rehabilitate them and say, yo, you can be our brother again when you just stand up for the same principles that you want for yourself. I had to stop you from doing this thing to this person, and I couldn't reason with you. I just had to stop you. But now that I have your attention, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not here to insult you. I'm not here to be your bully. I'm here to say, we're not having any bullying. Because strong people don't let other people pick on weak people who haven't hurt anyone. And strong people don't pick on weak people who haven't hurt anyone. Only broken and weak men passing on what was done to them try to get joy from stuff like that. And men of integrity have to shine a light on this, whether it's a political party, whether it's in your school, whether it's in your workplace, in your community. Men of integrity, men of strength, don't let that shit slide. That's weak shit. That's bitch-made shit. And y'all don't want real men to talk about it, just like y'all don't want to face us. You don't want to compete with us on any level. You hide in basements, but we're shining the spotlight on you. And I know it makes you mad, and I'm here to say it should only make you mad at whoever made you ignorant and weak. Because I'm here to show you love and be your brother as soon as you simply stand for others what you want for yourself. They can be healed, but that does not mean we excuse their destructive behavior. We must treat MAGA as we treat cancer, poison, or weeds, and separate ourselves from them, separate them from ourselves until they admit they were conned, admit they were tricked, apologize for their behavior, and agree to move forward upholding universal principles. Again, universal means everybody wants these. Everybody out there who will ever see this video wants their own liberty. They want to know the truth, and they want love. They either want to give it, receive it, or both. Everybody. And so when somebody says, you know what, we may disagree economically, we may disagree on immigration, but I do agree with you on these principles. And because of that, I could never support MAGA. That's all it takes. That's it. So don't get mad at me for loving you enough to tell you the truth. Get mad at whatever forces of life carried you into an ocean of ignorance and weakness and didn't give you the map or the instructions to get out. I'm here trying to throw you a life raft, but I won't let you drown me. I won't let you drown other innocent people. But we're here. We're going to watch these videos. We're going to talk about it. We're going to react to them and get in our work for today.
My social to announce to everyone that now he's demanding that the Republicans vote to release the Epstein files, still claiming that they are a hoax. Here is some analysis from Amy Siskin. Please pop this up. They've got him by the short hairs. Trump has capitulated. Apparently, House Republicans have enough votes to override his veto. So now Trump is trying to save face by calling for the release of the Epstein files. Yes,
And listen, again, only weak men would not call this what it is. Donald Trump called and threatened women Congress members, publicly threatened them with coming after them politically if they don't help suppress the Epstein files. They refused. They told him to F off. And so many Republicans have joined on to release the Epstein files that now he has to switch. And only a weak man would ignore that behavior and pretend it doesn't matter. Only a bitch-made man would ignore that behavior and pretend it doesn't matter. And these are choices, okay? If this is you, I'm not saying that you can never be redeemed. I'm saying you have to admit what you've been smoking, and you have to put it down, and you have to come back to universal principles and your own integrity before we will take you seriously or call you brother or sister again.
if not about him, will be redacted. But strong journalists who have been following this will be able to glue things together. His grip on power keeps loosening. The mask is coming off. All right, a couple of things here. Number one, he did order the Pam Bondi to reopen the investigation. So he's definitely going to be playing some sort of game that I can't help it. Pam Bondi reopened the investigation, so they just released what they can. But the most important message to this guy is frail and he is shedding Republican support. They all see that their vote here is going to far outlive this frail, barely held together dictator. And so how did we get to this point? So last week, hellfire is raining down on him regarding the Epstein files as Epstein's estate drops all of these tidbits, right? So imagine if Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, or if Kamala Harris had been president. If the White House, in the throes of this massive, massive scandal, you could walk by and hear this blaring from it. Kylie, play the clip.
This is crazy.
Okay. This queen has Phantom of the Opera blaring at the White House, all right? This is a madman. This is a crazy madman that is written about in movies and in literature. And he just does all of this.
He's blasting Phantom of the Opera. Like, if you're MAGA, I grew up in the South, in the religion, in the Republican Party. I know you. I am you. Part of my family is you. You don't support trust fund con men, child predators, sexual abusers who play Phantom of the Opera at full volume? What are you doing? You have to be so weak to pretend that you like this It's time to wake up. You don't have to stay that weak. You don't have to live like that much of a spineless little bitch. You can grow a spine. You can turn around. You can stand up for what's right. But while you are in this delusion, supporting this piece of shit is fuck you. Okay? And if that hurts you, do something about it. And I mean man to man. Debate me face to face. Compete in any way that you want to. Because y'all want to pretend like Elon Musk, you want to pretend like Dave Portnoy, Trump. You want to pretend like these people are men you respect? Bullshit. Please send any of them to me because they want to say what Democrats are. Let's compete. Or admit that you all know that you're weak and ignorant and that you want to get better and that you actually want to be strong. You don't want to stay that way. You want to be little bitches who kneel to PDFs. So stop. Reach out. Ask for help. Not everybody ends up there on purpose. You don't have to stay in this bullshit.
Crazy shit, blaring music on his patio, probably back there, hanging out with his friends, bobbing around like a little bobber, and everyone's like, oh, hey, boss, you're doing great, blah, blah. Well, all of these things that trickle out, you guys, are incredibly damning. One of them is that Epstein texts with Bannon about Epstein right before his arrest. Pop this up. 2 weeks before he's arrested, Epstein texts Steve Bannon. And here's what he texted to him. Now you can understand why Trump wakes up in the middle of the night sweating when he hears you and I are friends. So, he's not only waking up in the middle of the night sweating, you guys, in the middle of the day, he's just blaring music. This presidency is completely falling apart. He is at the epicenter of a huge pedophile ring that involves not only abuse/rape of underage girls, but it also involves a photograph of Kanks giving somebody named Bubba a blowjob.
And y'all don't care? Bullshit.
The added details to that are that Vladimir Putin has a photograph of this. So it's not only that this man is a complete sexual deviant, but he also likes to give blowjobs, I guess, as a side hustle. And again, you may remember Ken Starr, the Family Values Republicans, all losing their minds. Newt Gingrich over Bill Clinton. And it was, that was terrible. He's the president of the United States. Monica Lewinsky was 18 years old. They impeached him for it. Kanks has given a blowjob to somebody named Bubba, and we're just barely even talking about it. All right, rolling along. Before he capitulated, this is what he was like last night, a couple of hours before he sent out the lie social that, okay, I give, everybody vote to release the files. Here is Kanks, cranky AF on the tarmac. Play the clip.
Will you let me finish one second? You are the worst. You're with Bloomberg, right? You are the worst. I don't know why they even have you.
Okay, so there he is, the typical somebody.
This is how he reacts when somebody asks him about the Epstein files, and these weak, spineless motherfuckers just turn the other way. Stop it.
He asks him a question that requires accountability, and he thinks he's better. He thinks the rules don't apply to him, and society and the media and the country and the billionaires and the universities and the law firms have all told him the rules that everybody else has to live by don't apply to you. So he acts like a petulant little toddler, incredibly unpresidential, but everybody's so used to that by now. Here's another hissy fit on the tarmac.
They would like to talk.
Mr. President, Representative Massey says he's concerned that the Epstein probe you are calling for could be a smokescreen to block the release of more files. Is that the case?
Well, I don't want to talk about it because fake news like you're a terrible reporter, and fake news like you, they just keep bringing that up to deflect from the tremendous success of the Trump administration. So a guy like Massey, his poll numbers are showing he's at 6% approval rating right now. And
So he can get away with attacking people who ask him one question about the Epstein files because he has the support of the weakest and most ignorant. If he didn't have the most weak and ignorant people supporting him, he would never get away with this.
we call him Rand Paul Jr. because he never votes for the Republican Party. So they're using Jeffrey Epstein as a deflection from the tremendous success that we're having as a party.
Using Jeffrey Epstein. This is the guy who, right after he won and got to the White House, within a week, I think, they invite all of these paid MAGA influencers to the White House and give them binders. And they say, here are the Epstein files. We're already proactively releasing them. It was all bullshit. It was all a ruse. And at the epicenter of Trump support is the hardcore cult, which are these QAnon people that got wrapped up into this Epstein stuff. And it saved the children and all of these things. Well, this became a lot of people's identities. And the fissures that are now forming into cracks in this movement, because this guy is point person. You've got Jeffrey Epstein, then the second person mentioned the most out of all of the files is this guy, Kanks, the demented, frail, dementia-ridden president of the United States. Kankles McTaco Tits, the most embarrassing human being on the planet, is right in the center. So the cult is completely falling apart. And politicians are starting to see biology is catching up with this guy very quickly. Do you want on your record forever that you voted to protect elite, wealthy pedophiles, or that you stood up against it? And this guy's quacking like a duck. We can all see that he is, bruises on the hands, the cankles, brags about identifying an elephant on a dementia test, gets an MRI. Somebody asked him on Air Force One yesterday,
Only the weakest and most ignorant would hear Trump talk about taking a cognitive test and calling it an IQ test and ignore that. Nobody who's intelligent, nobody who is strong would ever ignore the President of the United States. And this is one of 10,000 things. That's how we know how broken they are. And again, it doesn't have to be permanent. But you have to admit that you were conned. They have to admit they were conned. They have to apologize, and they have to agree to come back to universal principles. But this is just example after example after example that don't chase around the filth that MAGA spreads. Go for the root cause. It's ignorance and weakness. And the ignorance and weakness manifest in people justifying doing what they know is wrong because they're either pursuing money or they're pursuing a corrupt version of religion. They're pursuing money or a corrupt version of religion. And both of those things come from ignorance and weakness, which are the root causes. But the next level is you see them doing what they know is wrong, which is going along with all of this bullshit that disgusting ass Donald Trump is spreading. Because they either want money from it or they're following a corrupted religion.
Was MRI, did they do an MRI of your brain? And he goes, I don't even really know. So that's how bad the dementia is, that since he had the MRI, he doesn't remember which body part the MRI was for.
Nobody believes that.
This is where this is getting really, really interesting for the MAGA base. They ask Kanks about Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. And you may remember we covered this, that this caused a lot of disruption in the MAGA base because far-right Israel supporters have all gone to seek refuge in the party that has a tent big enough for anti-Semites. And so here he has questions about this on the tarmac. Play the clip.
Yeah.
Mr. President, Tucker Carlson recently had a friendly interview with anti-Semite Nick Fuentes. Tucker Carlson, what role do you think Tucker Carlson could play in the Republican Party and conservative movement going forward?
Well, I found him to be good. I mean, he said good things about me over the years. I think he's good. We've had some good interviews. I did an interview with him. We had 300 million hits. You know that. Look, I can't tell him. Will you let me finish my statement? You are the worst. You're with Bloomberg, right? You are the worst. I don't know why they even have you. We've had some great interviews with Tucker Carlson.
It's a bitch-made incel.
Tell him who to interview. I mean, if he wants to interview Nick Fuentes, I don't know.
That's a bitch-made incel.
But if he wants to do it, get the word out. Let him. You know, people have to decide. Ultimately, people have to decide. The mayor of New York, I will say, would like to meet with him.
Somebody has to be so ignorant and so weak to put up with this bullshit.
I said we'll work something out, but he would like to come to Washington and meet, and we'll work something out. We want to see everything work out well for New York.
Okay. Imagine for a second, you guys, if Zoran Mamdani said, I don't know much about Nick Fuentes. Imagine what Greenberg of the ADL would do, who started a Mamdani monitor. The way that MAGA is able to be...
The way you can see the weakness is that none of the rules that MAGA wants for other people ever apply to them. Because they're bitch-made cowards who can't play by the rules. They want to make up rules for everybody else, but they don't play by them. Weak shit.
Openly comforting to anti-Semites in a way that the ADL looks the other way and makes excuses for Elon Musk and for Proud Boys and for Trump support.
And we hate the ADL, but this just shows the corruption. If Zoran Mamdani said that he didn't know who Nick Fuentes was or didn't care about him, you'd never hear the end of it. They're already calling him a terrorist. They would just take it to another level. But with Trump, they're so weak, they just go along with it.
Of pardoning a man that wore a shirt that said Camp Auschwitz at January 6th. And that just all gets swept under the rug. When Zoran Mamdani has outwardly said, I believe in universal human rights. I want to address rising anti-Semitism. I want to address anti-immigration bigotry. I want to address rising Islamophobia. I want to address rising homophobia. I want to address rising transphobia. I want to address rising sexism. I want to address rising misogyny. He says he wants to address all of these things because he links them all together because they all are interconnected. And so then you get these crazy media conglomerates that are forming under this president because all they have to do is make him a trophy or agree to do business with him or his son's Dumb and Dumber, and then they can have whatever they want from this guy. Everything is a shakedown. So Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports was granted a 9-minute interview on CBS. CBS is now run by a Jewish lesbian woman named Bari Weiss, who for years spoke about woke culture, and she uses her identity now to weaponize against others. And her number one issue that she thinks is the biggest issue on the planet right now is anti-Israel sentiments, which she wrongly connects to anti-Semitism, and those two things are completely different. I am very compassionate towards anybody who would fall prey to an anti-Semitic attack, verbal, physical, whatever that be. However, I'm very critical of the Israeli government. The same thing goes, I apply the logic, like right now, I want people who believe in universal human rights that don't live in the United States of America to be as critical as fuck about this administration. This administration is fascist. The parallels with 1930s are off the chart. So here's Dave Portnoy on his interview with CBS. Play the clip.
Get hooked up with Cash App Card. Just add an offer and save instantly
No. Okay.
when you pay.
We're gonna hear Dave Portnoy's interview and point out what a little bitch Dave Portnoy is.
I mean, occasionally you get a or Jew or whatever, it's every day now. Like, there's a definitive shift in what's going on. So yes, now I for me, being a Jewish person, like you gotta step up. You're kind of someone people look up to in the Jewish community. You have to be like, all right, this is not normal, ha with the guys. People are coming in with real hate.
How do you explain that?
These are MAGA people. MAGA people attacking MAGA people. Okay, just wait, it gets better. Oh,
So I completely agree with
Okay.
Chris Murphy
Hold
here.
on. My bad. Here we go. It gets better.
I for me, being a Jewish person, like you gotta step up. You're kind of someone people look up to in the Jewish community. You have to be like, all right, this is not normal, ha with the guys. People are coming in with real hate.
What he means by not normals. Wait. We're supposed to be attacking liberals together. We call liberals these kind of names. We can't attack people in the cult. I'm still in the cult. You can't attack me. I'm still part of the cult. What are you doing?
You explain that line to people.
It's a tough one, and sometimes they always don't get it.
And just last week, a man was arrested for using an anti-Semitic slur at Portnoy while he was taping a video in Mississippi.
The success of Barstool and yourself is based on not being afraid to offend, right? Speech is speech, a joke is a joke. Do you see a connection between what you unleashed and what you now have to deal with?
No,
No. They make fun of every marginalized group, from George Floyd to drag queens to whatever. This is a bitch-made motherfucker, y'all. Send him to me. Yo, Dave Portnoy, what do you want to do? You want to debate? You want to IQ test? You want to lift? You want to race? How do you want to compete? Because we got young men. Oh my God. We have young men in America that think this piece of shit is what a man is. We've got young men raised in this bullshit thinking that this is what a man is. This spineless, hypocritical, soft, bitch-made simp.
because I think Barstool and myself has always had a pretty good moral compass. So we've never stood for hate or
Fact check.
or anything of that ilk. I mean, do I think that
Oh, here we go.
feminists should complain about a Diet Coke can
Oh, except about
being
feminists.
skinny, and that somehow is like leading to a eating disorder by Diet Coke having a skinny can? That I think is crazy. And there are things that I think
When other marginalized groups are attacked and ridiculed and made fun of, that's totally fine with these bitch-made motherfuckers. He couldn't get away with that around somebody like me. I would bully this little bitch's ass till he stopped, and I'd be like, hey, it didn't feel good, did it, Dave? All right, how about we don't do that to other people? Cool? Okay, we could be friends again. But everybody else in this soft piece of shit's life is weaker than him.
people get far too worked up, like he, she, verbs, like crazy to me.
And does it make me mad? Like cancer makes a doctor mad. Like weeds coming up where you weeded them every day in your garden make a gardener mad. Yeah, but I mean, you deal with it. You still go on with your life. You still have a good life otherwise, but you don't accept it. You don't say, oh, the cancer came back. I guess we'll give up this time. Oh, look, weeds came back where I pulled them and where I sprayed. I guess I just won't do that again. No. You show up every day. You put in the work every day to keep pieces of shit like this from influencing the kids in your community. Because following pieces of shit will turn kids into pieces of shit.
Making jokes that you are trying to hurt people's feelings and are based in hate, that's never flown with.
He literally just said they make fun of feminists. These people are so high on their own bullshit,
Us.
on their own self-delusion. It is
Okay.
all about self-delusion. Dave Portnoy can sit there and do what he knows is wrong when he's felt what it feels like for somebody to do it to him, he will double down on what he knows is wrong because he's pursuing money. Remember, we've talked about the root causes are ignorance and weakness, and there's 1,000 different ways people can end up there. But the next thing that happens is because of ignorance and weakness, people start doing what they know is wrong for one of two reasons: money or following a corrupted religion. And Dave Portnoy is doing this for money. His fan base is 90% MAGA. There are almost no liberals who give a fuck or follow Dave Portnoy because they know he's a weak, unserious piece of shit who just simply made money off coming from a wealthy family and grifting the most ignorant and weak like him in society. He's like Trump. He's a beta male, but a beta male gets to be the alpha in a room full of Charlie Delta Echo males. Men who kneel to beta males because they don't know the difference. Because Dave Portnoy keeps himself far away from real men. He would never face me in a debate, in an IQ test, in a phone call, in an interview. Neither would Trump. None of your MAGA men would ever face just a normal, regular, real man, because I would immediately show the kids the difference. It would take me 5 minutes to make any of your MAGA leaders look like the pieces of shit they are, so they hide. And those of you who are triggered by this, stop for a second. I'm not trying to attack you. You're triggered and you want to do something to me. How do I know? I get all the messages of these weak little bitches. They don't want to face me. They don't want to debate face to face. They don't want to get in a boxing gym and get their little aggression, attention seeking out. They're like, you'll never see it coming. That's weak shit. I've got to hide because I know I can't face you. I have to hide and attack you from the shadows. That is all MAGA men. And we say this and we shine a light on it so that the youth may know the difference. Because for too long, people like me have just been ignoring these bitch-made motherfuckers, leaving them to their misery. But now they have spilled over to where they're polluting our entire country with their bullshit. And so we will shine a light on it and we will clean it up.
First of all, he, she are pronouns, not verbs. Secondly, this man called for saying that he hoped the flotilla that Greta Thunberg was on got hit by a missile. This guy endorsed. Okay, exactly. Dave Portnoy clutching his pearls, acting like, oh, I've never stood for hate. Why? This is not right. When this guy attacks me, he should be thrown in jail. I would never do that. And he called for Greta Thunberg's little flotilla for peace. Whatever you want to say about Greta Thunberg, her life is dedicated towards doing what she believes is going to help other people. And he talks about wanting to see her get hit by a missile. Weak, bitch-made ignorance. Donald Trump, who at the January 6th rally, people took Nazi flags into the Capitol. Nazi flags with swastikas on them. And man, he pardoned, had a shirt on that said Camp Auschwitz. We all know what Donald Trump said about the very fine people that said Jews cannot replace us. We know about Trump's coddling of the Proud Boys. You don't get to have it both ways. This is the fundamental problem with this argument from far-right pro-Israel people that are using anti-Semitism to erode the First Amendment. Listen, on universities, historically, since the beginning of universities, when people see injustice and they see what's happening in Palestine, in Gaza, people speak out against that. This happened in Vietnam, Iraq War. This is something that happens. Where I think we have to make sure Jewish kids are safe is a lot of Jewish people do not support the provocations of Israel and outright think it's damaging to the safety of Jews worldwide. So you had some incidents where some kids, Jewish kids, were walking across campuses and were bullied. I'm not down with that. Zoran Mamdani's not down with that. But you know who's down with that?
No.
Trump.
Yes.
The people that Barry Weiss and Dave Portnoy, you cannot go and support this guy who has no problem making space for Nick Fuentes to come to dinner at Mar-a-Lago and then say he doesn't know anything about him. He knows everything about him. He knows exactly what he is. And the MAGA base is a big tent of bigots. And the far right Jewish groups that went there for safety are in the throes of the biggest fool's errand, because he's not going to keep you safe. You're not going to be special. At the end of the day, these guys are going to, the people behind Kanks, the Heritage Foundation, it's WASP all the way. It is white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant. And if they're going to use you to bring you in to get elections, that's what they're going to do. And they're going to kick you to the curb. Bari Weiss, you are not a magical, special lesbian that at some point is going to be exempt. Just this year alone, there have been over 600 introductions of legislation that are anti-LGBTQ+. This is insanity. Do not listen to the people that go and seek comfort in Donald Trump and his neo-Nazi movement that is treating immigrants the same way in the early.
So you see, this is a phenomenon that happens in MAGA. Bari Weiss, who is MAGA and who is now the head of CBS, is a lesbian, a Jewish lesbian in MAGA. So when we say that all of the people who say the worst about Jewish people, like Nick Fuentes, like all you have to do is know who Nick Fuentes is or look him up for 5 seconds. And he's MAGA. And everybody who follows him and has and again, there's a difference between being critical of the country, the nation of Israel, and the people in charge of it. That is completely different than racist criticism of Jewish people as human beings. Those are two completely different things. The people who criticize Jewish people as human beings, again, go back and look at the young Republicans, and these were people in their 30s, okay? They're not young, but they're in a group called the Young Republicans. Go look at their text messages. They were talking about throwing people in ovens. Yet this head of CBS is a Jewish lesbian, and she's MAGA. So when we say that MAGA is the party that all racists join, you're not going to find any racist in the United States that voted for Kamala. And 99% of them voted for MAGA. And maybe some of them don't vote at all. But MAGA is the party for all of racism. And people will be like, no, look at Bari Weiss, look at Candace Owens. And you have to be so ignorant and so weak not to call that what it is. There's a word for it, and it's called having a token. When you can get somebody like Bari Weiss or Candace Owens to go along with the cult, they become very valuable because they become a shield to say, hey, you can't say that. And again, anybody in the country who is opposed to LGBT rights is MAGA. They did not vote for Kamala. They are not liberals. They're not Democrats. And they'll say, but look, Bari Weiss is gay. Caitlyn Jenner. And it's like, those people are doing it for the money. And you have to ignore what's obvious. You have to be ignorant and weak to go along with that bullshit.
Days that Hitler and the Gestapo treated Jewish people and gay people. Do not go seek refuge with those people. And you don't have the balls to stand up and say what this president is doing to the immigrant population, where the majority that are in custody now have no criminal record. As a Jewish person, which I'm not, but I would think if I'm Dave Portnoy, I would say as a Jewish person, this is too reminiscent of history, and I'm not down with that. So you
Dave
don't get
Portnoy
to have
is
it
weak.
both ways, Dave Portnoy. You cannot go get all of the tax credits that you want with a bunch
Dave Portnoy,
of racists and then expect
all his followers
them
are
to
MAGA.
protect you. all of this rise in anti-Semitism
Because he
is
built-
coming from the right.
He built
He's
his company on
normalized
bullshit
it since
that they like.
Charlottesville. He will continue to normalize it, and so this is utter insanity.
Come face me,
And I
Dave
just want to
Portnoy.
leave you all with this video.
Come
So
get
you have to
some.
Walk and chew gum at all times.
I dare
Camps
you.
Spiraling. The
bitch-made
Republicans'
motherfucker.
base support is, completely in shambles. His base, the cult, is completely in shambles. We have to cover that, but at the same time, our own party has some problems, and I'm talking about Chuckles. Chuckles has been an abject failure of the minority leader in the Senate. And here is Senator Chris Murphy on Chuckles. Play the clip.
Schumer's taking a lot of heat for this. Do you still have confidence in him as the Democratic leader, and do you think he will still be the Democratic leader after the midterms?
Well, we can't continue to operate like this in the Democratic Senate. This is not the first time that a small group of Democrats have crossed over to support Republican measures that give Donald Trump more power. So I've been candid with him and with my colleagues that the Democrats are going to lose this democracy if we continue to allow Republicans to cleave off 10 or 12 or 15 of us. So we've got some hard conversations as a caucus moving forward. We can't continue to be split like this, or we won't save our democracy. So certainly when we return to Washington next week, Senator Schumer is going to have to explain to us how we're going to run the caucus differently, how we're going to be more united.
So I completely agree with Chris Murphy here, and I'm glad that they're starting to have the